It's so great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
It's wonderful being here. Thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the partnership that we've had with Meta is just incredible. I mean, you guys are known for really pushing the envelope in hyperscale computing, and really combining not just the engineering leadership, but also the commitment to open standards, and frankly, running your infrastructure at scale for lots of applications and billions of people. So can you share a little bit about how we're working together?
Absolutely. So as you know, Meta and AMD have been collaborating on EPYC server design since 2019. These collaborations have been expanding over time with Milan, Genoa, and now Bergamo. We've worked closely to customize AMD's EPYC architecture to meet Meta's power efficiency and compute density requirements. These optimizations include all layers of the hardware and software stack, including Zen cores, SoC composition, firmware, kernel performance, telemetry, and software to deliver best-in-class performance per TCO for our compute infra. We've also shared our learnings around reliability and maintenance and have helped improve the EPYC server designs for all hyperscale deployments, as well as you know, with all of our platforms, we open source, and we open source the AMD Milan-based server design via the Open Compute project in the past, and we intend to do the same with our latest Bergamo generation high-volume servers. So we really appreciate working together with your team and your support on this.
Oh, absolutely, Alexis. You have a demanding team, let me say, but we love the work that we do with your team. I mean, the deploying infrastructure at your scale does present some unique challenges, and we learned a lot along the way. Can you talk a little bit about some of the work we've done together to address those requirements?
Absolutely, and as you know, we've deployed hundreds of thousands of AMD servers in production across our global data centers and fleet that are running thousands of workloads in service of WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and across our product groups. We've also deployed AMD servers for video transcoding and storage systems and are using AMD CPUs on our AI compute platforms. So as you know, we've shared our workload learnings together with AMD and are working together as we address issues in scaling as they arise. And you're right, our scale is massive. And our scale and our generational ramp rate naturally strains our suppliers. But early on in our partnership, we had concerns about about AMD's ability to scale alongside us and meet our demand as we aggressively built out our data centers. But over the years, AMD has consistently delivered to meet these commitments, whether with your supply or your technical product roadmap innovations. We've been thoroughly impressed, and we've learned that we can rely on AMD to deliver time on time again.
Well, I really want to say on behalf of all of our engineers, thank you for that. We've worked really hard. We truly value our partnership. And as we've said before, we love learning and co-innovating and co-developing with our partners. And some of the insights from your workload have actually helped us shape what Bergamo should be. So as one of the leading cloud companies, talk about Bergamo and how it fits into your plans.
Absolutely. We are incredibly excited to be preparing to deploy Bergamo as our next generation high-volume generative compute platform for Meta. We're seeing significant performance improvements with Bergamo over Milan on the order of 2.5 times.
I'm sorry, did you say 2.5 times?
I did. And it offers substantial TCO improvements over Milan as well. So you make it pretty easy on me, Lisa. We love products that make both our technologists and our business teams happy. So building upon the core silicon innovation that AMD has enabled with Bergamo, we've partnered with AMD to add several other optimizations that help our workloads, including dense compute chiplets, the core-to-cache ratios, power management and manufacturing optimizations that help us pack a high number of these servers into a rack and deliver rack-level performance per TCO improvements as well. So with the flexibility of your chiplet strategy for Bergamo, we're also pleased to have an I/O-intensive server option that we could leverage for HDD and flash storage platforms. So with our focus on enabling new products for our customers as well as capital efficiency, we're thrilled to unlock the benefits of Bergamo for our entire family of apps.
Well, again, thank you, Alexis. We are so excited to be working closely with you guys on Bergamo and really looking forward to not just deploying Bergamo, but also all that we'll do together in the coming years. So thank you again for joining me today, and thanks for your partnership.
Thanks so much, Lisa.